Well, let's open our Bibles to Hebrews chapter 10, and I'd like to have you consider what motivated the early church. We hear about them. In one generation, the gospel went to the furthest extent of the empire. These people were fearlessly, in face of persecution, in the face of cultural, overwhelming opposition, were living Christ, sharing the gospel, establishing and continuing churches all over the place. I mean, I was just teaching in the north part of England, right near the Scottish border, and we were going through part of Hadrian's Wall, and part of Hadrian, the Emperor Hadrian, built a wall to keep those wild Scotsmen out of, the Roman part, and they had huge Roman legion camps. And what was interesting, when they excavated the place, they found that in the centurion's home, in the northernmost outpost of the Roman Empire in Britain, right on the front lines of the battle with those wild Scots, was a church meeting in his home. And they had their crosses hewn in, and they had all their trappings of Christianity. And I thought, that's what this church that we're reading about was like, whether they were a centurion or a slave. They were doing what it says in Hebrews 10. Now, you've probably heard this verse often when your pastor says you should come back for Sunday night service. As, all pastors know that you have most people Sunday morning, half of them Sunday night, and half again Wednesday night. That's just the mathematics of the church. And so often they intone Hebrews 10:24 and 25, which says, let us consider stirring up one another consider one another in order to stir up love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together. And they talk about that. And sometimes that verse then, that's what we think of. Oh, that's the verse that I should feel bad when we stay longer on our boat and don't come back Sunday night. Or, we eat so much that we say it's too hard to pack up and go back. Or if you're like 99% of the churches, they've canceled Sunday night, and you don't have it anymore because of whatever reason. By the way, the early church met at night because the majority of them were slaves. The real services are the evening services. Remember, they fell out the windows because they were falling asleep, because they worked all day, because they were slaves, and they'd already put in 12, 14 hours, and they came to the gathering in the evening. But look back at this verse. What's the motivator? And let us consider a very interesting word. It's to notice. It's a word for someone that notices things, kind of like the inspector, the building inspector, or whatever, the game warden or whatever. Really look things over, each other, in order to, the next word in Greek, stir up, is paroxysm. Do you know the English word paroxysm? It's kind of a spasm. It's kind of a convulsive word. So we're supposed to be, it reminds me of getting those paddle things, for the people having a heart attack. You know how they go poof and they boosh them? That's what we're supposed to come to church to do to each other. Carry around your heart defib or whatever they are to stir up love and good works. So our goal every time we're around other believers is to look at them closely and lovingly and stun them into more love and good works, not forsaking the assembling of ourselves together as is the manner of some, but exhorting one another, and so much the more as you see what? What's it say in your Bible? The day. What day? This day. See, this is what motivated the church. Don't get all, forgetting the purpose of the gathering of the church. Their motivation was they were trying to encourage everybody. Remember, it could be today, it could be today that Jesus comes, and we want him to find us doing what he left us to do. Do you remember all the stories Jesus told, all those parables about the good servant is the one that when his master went away and came back, he found him doing what he left him to do. What motivated the early church? They wanted Christ to find them doing what he left them to do. So the question from Revelation and the whole overarching theme of Revelation, and the reason it was the most popular book back then is because the first 3 chapters totally got them down on what they were supposed to be doing or not doing, and the other chapters told them that God has a plan, and it's under control, and from our perspective it's going to look terrible because of all this horrible, darkening world, but in the midst of it, He has His people doing what He called them to do. So, are you living like Jesus was coming to get you today? I'm not talking now about these people. I'm talking about these people, us. They were. In every church, there were people that Jesus said had ears to hear, and they would do what He left them to do. In every church, there were those like the Philadelphians that were longing for His return, that were every day expecting the rapture.